And you also talked about how important it is for you to not be isolated as a teacher.
Especially with the new social studies curriculum, there's a lot to take in, and for you to kind of fuse out what the big idea is and what the curriculum is asking of you, you kind of need to talk that through with someone. So you're bouncing your ideas, because in isolation you think your ideas are fantastic, but it might not be meeting the big idea question, or it might not be a realistic goal for the students. And are we hitting all areas of the curriculum?
And I think it forces, when you're working with someone else, it forces us to ask the questions and to reflect on, in the end, what are the students getting out of this? And how do you know they have met that goal?
Right.
And it's easy to do those checks and balances along the way when you have someone to discuss that through, or to moderate through those stages. When you're on your own, you just kind of hope. There's really no gauge, and there's no one there to help with you work through gauging. Did I meet the expectation? Am I able to move forward? Could I have done this differently so we can move it along? And it might be just that, like you said earlier on, like tweaking a couple of the lessons as they were being introduced to ensure that they were more effective.
Yeah, and even now that we have, as we're finishing the last social studies unit and rethinking about what might happen for the next year, there are things already that we can see that need to be tweaked, or a lesson that need to be added because there was some kind of misconception with the students thinking this year. And what was really important, getting those students to do their reflections at the end of the unit.
Yeah.
And then they share with us, here's what we really liked, what happened in the unit. Here's what we liked about the culminating task. Here's what we needed more. And then we take those suggestions and really try to...
And they're hard to hear, and they're hard to read when they say this is what we needed. And then we realize that maybe this mini lesson needed to be repeated one more time so we can really address, or give them the time to reflect on it. Or one situation where a student says, we did the reflection, we had the discussions, but we didn't have a chance to go back and apply it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, we do that in everything else. Why didn't we do that in this situation? So those little
checks and balances,
even from the students, really allowed us to think about and go back to our plan and plug in, consider time for students to apply all the feedback and the reflection in this area here.